Well, look what showed up. Apparently, the raccoon had a brother, sister, or a mate. And there it is on the roof. And the trapper will be back in the morning to see if he can pick this one up too.
Crazy.
Welcome back to 1834 Restoration House.
We're coming to you today from our wood shop because it's like a midwinter day outside. It's cold, it's dreary, it's soaking wet. Who wants to work in that? So today we're going to work in our wood shop. Several episodes back, we started making a set of art easels for Jeannie. And as it turns out, the legs were too thin and they're just not strong enough. And so today we're going to take these legs back off and make some new legs and see if we can't get this project finished. The original plan called for these side legs to be glued on. So the only way to get them off is to use the table saw. Here we go. Jeannie went back to the drawing board and figured out exactly how many boards we need to cut out of these bigger pieces here. Now, before I get started, I always like to square off the ends. Normally you have a factory edge, but in this case, the factory is our local sawmill and their factory edge is cut with a chainsaw, so it's usually never perfect. But we'll square it up and start from there. This board here needs to be cut down to 26 inches. So I'll use my square and my straight edge. And we'll cut the excess off. This is a piece of rough sawn southern yellow pine. It's a beautiful piece of wood. Extremely rough. You don't want to really rub it. It would hurt. But it's really good for making furniture and anything else with the right tools. So this one here needs to be 28 inches. I'll go ahead and make that mark there. That's going to give me probably about another 1.5 feet of spare, which I can use for another project someday. My jointer can only accept an 8-inch wide board, and these are 12, so I have to rip them down on the table saw and make them thinner. What was 3 boards is now 6 boards. So I'm going to go ahead and run these through the jointer and get them surfaced on 2 sides. That's one big flat side and one edge. All of these boards are jointed flat on one side, so now I can run it through the planer, and the flat side will be down here against the deck. The planer blades will work on this side, and we're going to run it through several times until we get these all down to 3/4 of an inch. I'm going to cut all these boards into strips, but before I do that, I want to cut the boards down to the correct length. Right now they're a little bit oversized, and because we used a skill saw, they're not going to be quite as accurate as they will on the table saw. What I'm going to do first is run it through the table saw on one end and just kiss it and make sure that it's absolutely square. And then I'll measure it, turn it around, and then I'll cut off as much as I need to make it just exactly the right length. Now that raises a good point. If you're going to trim one end and then go off and cut the other end, keep track of which end you trimmed first, otherwise you might be cutting the wrong end and then it won't be square. And just a word to the wise, if you have a helper, make sure your helper knows this too. It is so difficult to film in this room because it's so small. It's also very hard to work in this room. We're hoping that someday we'll be able to afford to build a real workshop out back there somewhere and get out of this room, because this is supposed to be a dining room. All of the boards are now marked, so I'm going to put them on the sled and I'm going to eyeball them up against this blade here and get them set perfectly, and then we'll go ahead and start the machine, run them through and get them cut down. All of these boards are now ready to be cut down into 2-inch strips. And I verified that all these edges are the flat edges. So these ones here are still rough. Well, we don't want that. So we're going to run our nice smooth flat edge up against the fence for perfect precision. It stopped raining, so I thought I would bring you outside and update you on the raccoon situation. So after we saw the raccoon on the roof, I called the trapper back. He came out here and he put down 2 traps, just like he did last time. And then we went to bed. About 2 o'clock in the morning, we heard this tremendous racket outside. And it sounded something like this. all night long, we heard this noise. So I finally came out first thing in the morning, as soon as the sun came up, and I took a look, and I saw we had a raccoon here. Now this raccoon was trying really hard to get out. It had rolled the cage over, it was tearing holes in the plastic, and it was actually trying to grab hold of this other trap over here. It was then I noticed that this trap was sprung. And I looked inside, but I didn't see anything. So I went back and got a flashlight. I came back, and I looked inside there, and there was another pair of eyes looking back at me. So we got not one, but two raccoons. Well, the trapper came by, he took the raccoons away, and set up a couple more traps. So we're good to go. It's been 24 hours since that time, and we haven't seen any yet, but we're just gonna keep these traps up and ready, just in case. We built 4 sets of legs, which fold like this. So what we'll do is we'll put one set here. This is the actual easel surface itself. We're looking at the back side. So one here, and one here. And we'll be gluing and clamping those together like this. And the idea being, you can carry it or store it, and then when you want to open it up, you simply just fold the legs out like this, and gravity will hold it in place. On the back side, we have more of these, and we'll be putting one here like this, and we'll be putting another one here like this. Well, rather than gluing it, what we'll do is we'll put hinges on right here. I'm going to go ahead and glue this up. Maybe. Am I running out of glue? There we go. I think I may have been a little too generous with that. All right, I'll go ahead and just set this in place, and I'll do the final adjustments in a minute. Let's go ahead and glue this one up as well. Oh, hi, love.
Hello.
Did you come to help me glue this?
Yes. Thought you might need help with the clamps.
I would definitely love help with the clamps. Okay, let's get that just kind of lined up like that.
Looks great.
All right, let's go ahead and put those clamps on. I'll take that one.
It's kind of curling up. Do we need those heavy weights on here again?
Okay, we've run into this once before. These clamps don't work well on the floor. They need to overhang. So I think what we'll have to do is move this whole thing up here on top of this table. So we'll be right back. Well, here it is all clamped up. We're going to let this sit overnight. Now, one thing I don't like about this setup is the hinges are of such poor quality nowadays. Look how much free play is there. All of that is slop in the hinge itself. We got these from one of the big box stores, and it shouldn't be too hard to guess which one it was because there's only 2 of them. But I know that's kind of unacceptable there, but hopefully it's good enough for an easel. It finally stopped raining long enough for us to come out here and get a little bit of video. So I'm hoping that next week we can do a little more work out here and finish cleaning this area up. Now, a couple of you guys are really good.
Sharp eyes.
Sharp-eyed viewers, because we were standing here closing our video out last week. A couple of you noticed that a snake came out of the brick pile right here and was just kind of waggling its head around, and we didn't even see it. I mean, we edited the video on a bigger screen. We did not see it until you mentioned it. We went back and looked at it, and wow.
Yes.
There definitely was a snake there. So we know that we found copperhead babies. There is a good chance that there's a copperhead mama inside there. We haven't seen it. I will tell you this, I will promise you this, that when we start pulling this apart, we're going to be super careful and we'll be ready for it if it does come out.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yes. Yeah, the last thing we need is a mama copperhead running around here.
No kidding.
But after looking at it, I realized there's all kinds of holes and cavities where that snake could be.
Thank you for watching 1834 Restoration House. Please like, share, and subscribe, and we'll see you next week. Hopefully.
Hopefully, yeah.
School may get in the way again, but we're trying our best.